what's the benefit of actually using a trust? Obviously, you love them, yada, yada, but how has that simplified your process?
Well, it's repeatable, right? I think that's the big thing. There's some flexibility in selling the property too, right? We talked about doing a land contract or selling on a wrap.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to have a true another closing, right? You can just assign beneficial interest over to your wrap buyer, and now you're done. So title doesn't change again, causing issues.
You just
right?
selling the trust.
You're just selling the trust. That's right. And we talked about
That's
this,
hard.
He about to make me rich.
right? And you can also. Michael Thompson here with Moguls in the Making, episode 21. Check it out. Ready to go.
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Moguls in the Making, episode 21, man. I'm glad to be back at home in the building, man. I'm your host, Omari Heflin.
I'm your most gracious, most handsome, most beautiful, most everything host, Tyrone Johnson.
He's forever going to do this,
I'm
man.
glad to see y'all today. I'm glad y'all came back out to episode 21.
21, can you do something for me?
Hey, I appreciate y'all too, man. We've been getting more comments, more people sharing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the viewership and everything that y'all been giving us is really helping us grow, man. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, one other thing too to add on to that, man. We had she an entrepreneur, and her name is Angel, and she just started referring a lot of other different stories of entrepreneurs that she wanted to hear. She was like, "Hey, can you get these three ladies on? They own this, they do this. I love what y'all doing, but they got some crazy stories. I think it'll fall in line with what y'all do. So
what's up.
Y'all out there, man, that's tuning in. We need y'all help. We don't know everybody or have a relationship that tight with some people that you may have. Let us know your favorite entrepreneur or just people who even need just light on actually their story and what they're doing. So always keep that in mind, man. Keep sharing that with us. But let's kind of hop into the business to you, man.
So this week we wanted to talk to y'all about what we got going on right now because it's not as much like deal to deal stuff right now. It's actually kind of a company reset almost. So right now we're doing a lot of resetting our systems and getting stuff set up. That's going to be probably the next 6 months as we're doing deals. I'm not saying we're not doing any deals. We got to pay. We got to get paid. We got to feed our families. But at the same time, we're going to be doing a lot of rebuilding our systems. So that's, going through our CRM that we use. So shout out Rafael Cortez. We actually going through him. We was out in Arizona, and he really, really put that into us. Like he was like, man, look, I'm going to tell y'all like this, man. If y'all mess with me, I'm going to give y'all the all.
And he really just opened up everything to show us what he is actually going to give us, which is a little bit more rare in this industry. You know what I'm saying? And that's our guy. So we're going to actually have some things to be able to kind of bring to the table for you guys in the future, potentially different masterminds or workshops and different things. And kind of after we going through it, everything that we have is dialed in to be able to say, hey, look, guys, this is how we did it. This is who we did it from, and be able to kind of get it back to y'all.
Yeah, and just to continue on the systems talk, we basically building back out our whole. So we're gonna be rehiring, some new lead managers. We're gonna be hiring some acquisition managers. So if y'all got anybody that's, that y'all feel is a very solid candidate, look, the best employees really come from referrals. We've heard that over and over and over again. Anybody we go to, we say, hey, who are you going through to hire? They're like referrals. I mean, mostly referrals. Some people use some systems and stuff like that, but if you're getting referrals, it's coming from good people 9 times out of 10, and you get some people in there that's really going to, work for what they just got referred for. You know what I'm saying? They have something to stand up for. But man, when it comes to the phone systems, all of that stuff, we're going to be resetting a lot of that stuff right now and just getting back to just the straight grind. So we just got an office downtown Indianapolis, right on the circle. And it's gonna be a trap. I mean, we're gonna be in there getting to it. So
grinding.
But that's what's going on with us right now. I don't know if you had anything else before we.
I do. Just, man, I know it was a couple weeks ago, but man, shout out to the whole Growth Summit event.
Yes.
Everything. We was down there. We spoke with Pace, Tom Crow, Henry Washington, Brent Daniels, of course, and a lot of other people that was up there. Luke was on there on stage with us, yeah, man, it was just a dope time, man. Arizona's atmosphere is just like no other. It's like a second home for us. So
Arizona got a sweet place in my heart, man, for sure.
For sure, man.
I just feel like everybody there is so helpful. You know what I'm saying? They all want to help the next person grow. It's crazy. You can be doing the same exact thing. They not the type of people that's like, I don't know if I tell him this, it's gonna be, that competition level of it.
Yeah.
They like, nah, we rather, teach somebody how to do it, and we gonna end up doing business with them anyhow. You know what I'm saying? So they got a really nice mindset. Shout out to Alejandra. She was super helpful. She always is every time we come out there.
We gave Brent back. He, she was down there writing everything out for us.
That was dope.
But yeah, man, it was like no other, man. And a lot of people in Masterminds pulled down. Some people from Indianapolis was there too.
Yep.
And supported us. We had our title company. One of the representatives, she flew down there to support us and stuff like that too, man. So it's just a lot of love, a lot of dope, vibes. But we'll be kind of doing more things like that as this continues to grow and stuff like that. But speaking of, pace and having his effect, we actually joined his mastermind years ago, which is called Sub2, which I know a lot of you guys know out there. But we've been in there, done a few different Sub2 deals, but man.
Our guest that we got for y'all today.
We got somebody for y'all who, if you had any doubt that Sub2 can work.
Right. Creative finance as a whole.
We about to break that myth from A to Z today for y'all. So really grab a pencil, a pen, a notepad. This is a little bit different than some of our episodes, which are, still we get into stuff, but, sometimes it's a little bit more vague and things like that. This is real instructional, real game, like go and apply it today, So, man, without further ado, my guy, Michael Thompson.
He in the building. I'm hitting it a couple times because the viewer said stop hitting it so much. I'm going to hit it a couple times. Yeah, buddy.
Michael Thompson.
He in the building. Hey, before you get started, though, let's not forget that he was an athletic trainer for the Indiana All-Star. He just brought that back up to me.
I didn't know that.
When I played in the Indiana All-Star, he was one of the trainers on staff. So first and foremost, just let everybody know how good I was, man.
See, look, we ain't about to start the podcast off like this.
It was a fun time.
That was
a super fun time.
That was, man.
I did it 3 times. I did the All-Star team 3 times as an athletic trainer, and each time was great. And, Indiana has the best high school basketball players, bar none.
Absolutely. In the country.
That's right.
If y'all don't think that, y'all crazy.
Come out here and get cooked.
Exactly.
I ain't saying I'm going to cook you, but I'm going to get somebody else that's going to cook you, though.
Yeah.
And we going crazy. But, man, Mike, definitely a pleasure to have you on. We going through, pretty much a deal right now that is complex, and you just got on and we just broke it down over Zoom. I'm like, Mike, can you come onto the podcast? Because people need to hear this.
Absolutely.
Like, no lie, even we're kind of in the middle of the pack as far as, real estate. We're not starting out, but we're not crazy scaled either, though. And, for a person that's done hundreds of deals and been acclimated and, invest into masterminds and stuff like that, we still don't know some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's like, some things is just experience. You can't know it until you just go through it.
Right.
So, Mike, I kind of just wanted to start from, like, how'd you even really start to get into Sub2?
Yeah. Just creative finance in general, right? Like, and you can't expect to know everything off the get-go, right?
Right.
Like, you got to learn by experience. You got to have some kind of mentor, somebody that's going to help you out and kind of give you that knowledge, or you learn by mistakes, which, is perfectly fine too. So, creative finance for me, I got my real estate license in 2014.
Okay.
I start there, right? That's when I got my license. I was still doing athletic training,
okay.
Part-time, but I also got my license in because, athletic training, I had to be at school.
Right.
Like, 2:30, 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
whatever it is. So I had the mornings to kind of do whatever. So I just started, getting into real estate, and I did retail, but my brokerage allowed me to do property management right off the get-go too. So, and they didn't want any fees for it. They're like, "Yeah, just go do it." I'm like, "Perfect." Right. So I started there and did some retail as well in the meantime, but I went full time in real estate in 2016 and did my first Sub2 deal kind of. Like it was a first Sub2 deal in 2018. That was when I did my first one.
Got you. Walk us through that.
Where was that, Michael?
I did it all wrong.
Did you?
Yeah, but actually the first rental property I ever bought was a seller finance deal.
Okay.
And
Damn, that's how you started out?
that's my first one.
Sheesh.
I woke up in the middle of the night. It was like a dream, right? So my brokerage that I worked for, the lady that owned it had a property for sale. It wasn't selling. You know, in 14, things were still slow.
Yeah.
Following 08, housing prices were trying to go back up. But I just woke up in the middle of the night. I promise you, I woke up in the middle of the night and said, I bet she'll sell that to me in seller financing. And so
You had no clue about seller financing or nothing?
No, I just knew that. I knew of land contracts.
Right.
Indiana's a big land contract state.
Absolutely.
And for you that don't know, like land contract is when I'm purchasing a property from someone, they maintain title or the deed, they maintain the county level ownership, but you're buying it from them over time, basically on an installment plan without switching title.
Right.
So
Okay.
you've got all the control of the property, you don't have the title.
Right. Right.
And she did. She sold to me on a land contract.
What? Talk us through that deal and like what ended up happening with that deal. Just it being your first deal, especially 2014. I'm guessing it gained some equity over time. I know you said you did it wrong, but was it a bad ending or was it a?
My Sub2 was wrong. My seller finance deal went great.
Okay.
I had a regular tenant in there. She paid on time for the most part. She ended up leaving, and then I sold the property and made some cash. Like the market had recovered,
Right?
And I made some money, and that was good. So I think it made me like $35,000. So that was a good deal.
Okay.
But my Sub2 property, I sold a guy a retail property. The house was built in like 1998, something like that.
Oh,
right?
okay.
That's a nice boy.
Nice one in Indianapolis.
That's right.
Sure.
So I sold it to him. I helped him. I was his buying agent for him. He bought it retail. And by that time, I'd already started to go down the road of wholesale and looking at properties, off-market properties. And I got really good at looking at the sheriff's sale list. And I see his house on the sheriff's sale list. I just sold it to him like a year and a half before, right? So I'm like, all right. So I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, like, why are you in foreclosure? He's like, man, I just want to sell the property. I'm like, I'm coming over. I went to his house that night and had a conversation with him. And he's like, man, I just want to sell it. He's like, he was behind on his mortgage, right? He had a little bit of equity, okay? And we did a hybrid. So my very first Sub2 deal was a hybrid. So he had, I don't know, maybe like $15,000 worth of equity. Okay. So we gave.
Wait, real quick.
What is a hybrid?
I'm about to say, break that down for the listeners. Okay. Hybrid.
A hybrid. So if you don't know what Sub2 is, let's start there because I think that's important. Sub2 is when you buy or purchase a property, and the lien that's on the property, usually the first lien mortgage,
right,
stays with the home, even though the deed changes or the title changes, right? So a lot of people think that, you can't buy a property and the deed change, yet the lien stay on the property.
Exactly.
You can. Yep. Absolutely can. So they're two separate things. And so, that's Sub2 is you purchasing the property, you're taking ownership of the property, actual deed, but the lien stays on the property.
Right.
We're going to take the property subject to that lien.
Exactly.
So that's subject to in a nutshell. A hybrid is usually when the seller has equity, right? So if I'm buying a property for $200,000 and, that's what they want, but they owe $150,000, well, now they have $50K in equity, right? So we're going to pay them on their equity over time, okay? That's typically what a hybrid is.
Gotcha.
And that's what I did with him.
So basically, say for instance, you got $150,000 they still owe on the property. That's the lien mortgage that you're taking over.
Yep.
The $200,000, so they'll have $50,000 in equity, and you might be paying him at a certain interest rate or no interest rate, depending on what your terms are that you agree to per month against that $50,000 over a set period of time.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
But you usually give them some type of down payment.
Yeah.
To be able to.
Yep.
Execute the deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what we did. So, we gave him $15,000, but we gave him $10,000 up front and $5,000 over time. Not a huge hybrid deal,
right?
But still, like it was that changed my whole view on creative financing, and that's what really got me started. But like I said, I did it all wrong. I did do a title search because I was in real estate, and I knew you had to do a title search. But then we just quit claim the property.
Oh, you didn't close through title. And that's another thing that a lot of the listeners don't know, too. With these creative finance deals, subject to deals, stuff like that, especially subject to, close with a title company. You just got to go to an investor-friendly title company because you're taking title. You're taking, the title to the property. You're just not. Now, what you're not going to do is you're not going to alert the mortgage company. You're not going to go and pull the payoff from the mortgage company, right?
Yep.
And so because that can trigger what's called the due on sale clause, right? And what that means is, hey, if the mortgage company feels that now you are making that payment instead of them, which this happens very rarely, by the way. So don't let that scare you. A lot of people get really scared about that. I think Pace said he did over 1,000 of them now, and he's maybe got 1 or 2 that has ever had calls on them.
Yep.
And then but don't let that scare you, for one. But what that means is, like, basically they'll call your loan due in 30 days. So, like, if that $150,000 that was on that lien, they'll be like, that $150,000 is due in 30 days because you guys changed ownership. And so they will do that if you go the wrong route. And this stuff, and I want you to kind of talk to them about that right now, is what are some things that can actually have that due on sale clause be called? Like, what's kind of a trigger for that? Because that's something that's huge that people just get kind of scared to do that method because of that. I know one being insurance.
Yeah. We had a conversation about insurance this weekend, but insurance is one, right? Well, first off, let me say that I've never had one called on me.
Us either.
Right?
How many have you done, Mike? Do you know?
So I'm getting ready to close only my 20th creative deal, which isn't as much as most, right?
Right.
But I've been a party to a few other transactions on top of that.
For sure.
But 20 personally for me.
Okay.
Creative finance deal, majority of those Sub2.
Okay.
But exactly, the insurance is one way to kind of mess it up, right?
Yeah.
We had a conversation like, the deeded owner of the property has to be the primary insured, right? It's one thing that we don't think about. And so some people right now, and by the way, Sub2 is a fashion item, right?
Right.
But you have to do it correctly.
Yep.
And you got to know what you're doing. I've corrected quite a few people's transactions just by looking at how they purchased the property. Sub2, not changing insurance correctly. Self-performing closes, right? Like closings, like self-performing,
Right.
Which is a possible thing. And if you want to try to do something like that, I think there's times and places for it. But yeah, the insurance is one way to get the due on sale clause called if you aren't transferring it correctly. So, and there's a few ways to do it, and we can get in. You want to get into insurance? Because
because I feel like people like I reached out to you. You helped us with our first subject to deal in 2019, I believe it was 2019, and like that was the first thing that like I learned from you was like, oh no, you need to be second on the insurance, right?
Yeah.
Named as, what do you call that? Named as
additional insured
or
because secondarily insured.
And what you explained to me that I remember that I teach people today is, if that dude goes and moves to Brazil, right, and there's a tree falls through the roof, if you're not additional insured, whenever that you have to go make that claim, you have to find this dude to have him make the claim for you. And now it's like, he may or may not want to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So he may be gone.
Or he may be gone. He might be dead.
And he's not really supposed to, right? Because he's not the deeded owner of the property.
Exactly.
So the deeded owner of the property has to be the primary insured, okay? And you can have the seller, the original seller, as a secondary insured, because when you provide that insurance policy to the mortgage company, they're going to want to see sometimes that seller is on the policy somewhere.
But just to be clear, you're saying that the original seller no longer is the primary. You're the primary, and they become the secondary.
Correct.
So you flip it.
You do.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. And
so when you, just a question, this is just for me. So like, say for instance, we buy theirs and they already have an insurance in place that's part of the PITI.
Yep.
Do you put you as secondly insured on that? You put you as primary.
Primary.
You change you to primary, change them to secondary immediately.
Yeah. It's because your insurance agents, is it going to really pay out if that person doesn't own the property?
Right.
That insurance policy is no longer valid.
Right. Okay.
So you got to switch it. You got to switch it to having the deeded owner be the primary insured. They're the main ones covered. Okay?
Exactly.
And then your mortgage company, you're going to have a mortgagee clause on the insurance policy as well. And when you buy a property Sub2, and you should get access to the online portal with the seller.
For sure.
And they'll tell you exactly how their mortgagee clause is.
So what is that too? Like if you could break it down in layman's terms, what is a mortgagee clause?
A mortgagee clause is just basically it gives the insurance company right to the proceeds of any insurance claim. Okay? It protects their interest. Because, you're either A, going to fix the property, or B, you're going to take the money and run.
Right.
Okay? It could be a windfall. It could be $50,000, $60,000, $100,000
Exactly.
worth of home insurance that you receive. You can't just cut that. You can't just sign that check and turn it into your bank account, because now they also have to sign the check.
Right.
If the check is even cut to you directly, could even potentially be cut to your mortgage company.
And then they disperse it to you.
Yeah.
How they see fit after you get a quote and all of that
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly.
So they want to, it's still, so the mortgagee clause really essentially is the bank saying, hey, I still want to be in control. If a catastrophe or disaster happens, I can still be in control and make sure that it's handled the right way.
Yeah. And that their asset that they're lending on is protected.
Exactly. Because they normally want to be listed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have to be, right? Like that will, if they're not listed as a mortgagee with that mortgagee's clause, that will cause the due on sale to be, because they're going to be like, oh crap, we're unprotected.
Right.
This is priority level number 1. We need to get this taken care of.
That's what I was going to ask. What will cause a due on sale? Is that the only thing that would cause?
It's the biggest thing. Look, regional banks. Okay, so regional banks will keep an eye on titled persons, right? Like whoever owns the property.
Right.
So way more than a national brand.
Right.
The national brands have systems and process. They manage billions of dollars worth of mortgages. It's hard for them to identify issues.
Exactly.
Right? As an example, I'm not going to give the name of the mortgage company, but someone within my inner circle, right, worked for them. They had so when you look at the person that was...
This was a regional bank or a...
This is a national.
Okay, a national
bank.
Yeah.
So if you look at the deeded person that was originally, so the person that got the loan, okay, that should be the people that originally deeded to the property.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you look at who that was versus they did an audit of who currently owns the property, it had a 39% failure rate.
Damn.
Right?
And I didn't even know that. So almost 40% of people, like whether it was Sub2 or...
It could be divorces. Right. It could be they just changed their name.
Yep.
Right? But quitclaim deeds out the wazoo, right?
Yeah.
Of having this. Or it could have been a mistake at closing. But either way, they had a 39% failure rate. So they didn't freak out about it. Like,
right.
It's just, now they know. I don't know if they did end up doing that, but
right.
They haven't so far, acted on that. It's just something that happens.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I think one thing that kind of even I worry about is like with the regional banks, like are they going to go and search title, and if they doing this, so there's another way of even going around, not even going around it, but kind of protecting that a little bit more with going with a trust.
Yeah, and I love trust.
And so do you buy it under trust each and every time, or is it something that you do on stuff that you feel like, oh, this is a regional bank, they might go in and be some assholes?
Yeah.
Or how do you go?
I love trust in general. So for all my Sub2 purchases are in trust regardless of the bank.
Okay. Who do you use for your trust?
Michael Thompson. No.
Oh, so you set up your own?
Well, yeah. So I paid a lawyer to create the documents.
Okay.
And then they're actually being reviewed currently to make sure they're updated and
stuff like
done
that.
correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my LLC is the beneficiary on the trust.
Right.
And then I have typically been the trustee in Indiana. So it depends on your state. Not every state requires you to disclose who the beneficiaries and trustees are.
Right.
And Indiana is one that you do not have to disclose who the beneficiary and trustees are.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. This is why we bring him on. This is why we brought him on, man. He got some knowledge, man. Because like with the trust situation, and I'll let you go, bro. My bad. I know you want to talk and blab that big mouth of yours. You'll be all right, man. Just hold up real quick. Just wait. Just hold it in. I can see it popping out his chest right now. Nah. So with the trust situation, it's like you can name it like whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? And so like if a bank does go and see it and say the property address is 123 Main Street, you can have 123 Main Street Trust. So they not about to go that extra mile to figure out who the beneficiary is. But even if they did in Indiana, basically they wouldn't even be able to see it.
Well, they wouldn't, not off the tax records, right?
Right.
And the property recording, they would have to come to you directly and request the trust documents.
Right. Which, how often are they probably going to do?
Why would they even do that?
Why
if
would
everything
they
is getting
so
paid?
it's just an extra layer of protection, really.
Yep.
In that sense.
And you know, depending on your state, I have purchased properties in LLCs for my sub-2s, but
Okay.
I went to trust because I love the flexibility of the document in general.
Okay.
And being able to add beneficiaries,
Mm-hmm.
remove beneficiaries. I just love the flexibility of it in general.
So, Mike, talk to the fact of that. I want to stay on the trust real quick and like to be able to make the sub-2s possibly even easier.
Yep.
Like, what's the benefit of actually using a trust? Obviously, you know, you love them, yada, yada, but how has that simplified your process?
Well, it's repeatable, right? I think that's the big thing. There's some flexibility in selling the property too, right? We talked about doing a land contract or selling on a wrap.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to have a true another closing, right? You can just assign beneficial interest over to your wrap buyer, and now you're done. So title doesn't change again, causing issues.
You just
right?
selling the trust.
You're just selling the trust. That's right. And we talked about
That's
this,
hard.
He about to make me rich.
right? And you can also
That's hard. That's hard. bro.
I love that. That's what you
Hold
mean
on,
by the
let's go. Let's
flexibility
go.
of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's hard.
yeah,
That's
and,
hard
and
right
you can maintain your trustee status, right? So you can still, like, as the seller of the wrap, you could maintain your trustee status. Look, it's done all the time in other states.
Exactly.
Right? Because think about this, like Indiana, there's a few types of security instruments that allow you to secure your position as a lender in a state. We use a mortgage in Indiana.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A note, which is the promissory note, it's my promise to pay. And the mortgage is the instrument that actually maintains their position at the county level.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, other states use a deed of trust,
Right.
right? And a deed of trust, it's literally like they can just take the property away from you quicker in those states because it's not a judicial foreclosure. Like Indiana, you have to file suit, like Chase Bank or whoever
Yeah.
has to file suit at the county level to take your home from you.
Yeah.
In other states, they don't have to do that. They can do
Yeah.
something called a trustee sale.
Exactly.
And just take the property from you that way. So
That's
it's
incredible.
very similar.
And they
to-
hire like a company that like I forget what that's called. I was just reading something that Pace wrote up about that, like how they do the trustee stuff. It's like actual trustee companies
Yeah.
out there that basically they just go through them and they just take the property back. Like it's not like you got to file with the courts or anything like that. It's crazy.
There is some notices, right?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
there are some states that are still take a long time even as a trust, a
Right.
trustee sale or a deed of trust. Like Florida can be one where it can be extended out long periods of time, and obviously COVID threw a whole wrench into how foreclosures are done.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, back to the owning a property in a trust, and that's where you can maintain your trustee status if you're selling that property on a wrap. So you can still have some control, at least see what's going on. You have to sign all documents. So
You still got control.
a little
And-
bit. I mean,
and-
not really. Beneficiaries have the true control.
Yeah, right. But you can still set it up and kind of maneuver it right. But I want to talk to just what happened to us.
Yeah.
What?
With the
Sorry about that. I got you.
the homestead issue.
Oh yeah.
That's a big
So
thing.
we purchased a property, Sub2, from a guy that used to work for us. Beautiful home. House got a pool.
Yeah.
Not too many houses in Indiana. Got a pool. Had a pool. Beautiful house. And we purchased it. You know, we got everything that we looking at. We like, okay, cool. We did a lease option on the back end. Guy didn't end up really performing, so he got out of the property, and we got it back again. And soon as we sold it pretty much we assigned it to a different buyer. They got hit, which really essentially was like me on the back end. But anyway, we got hit with the taxes shot up, like the payment shot up like $700
Right.
extra per month that we had to pay. And I'm like, okay, what happened? And then the calling, the mortgage, and they're like, hey, well, we paid the taxes for last year, so we're just, adding that to your mortgage so that, we can catch up and we can pay for that. And I'm like,
and
okay, so what was it last year? They're like, pretty much we had to pay $5,700.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because in Indiana, it's a year late, too.
Yeah, we pay
year behind
taxes in arrears.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's $5,700, y'all, that we had to pay. Mind you, think about if we had a rat buyer in there. Let's say it was, our stuff was $1,300, and let's say we had a rat buyer in there for $1,800, but the taxes shot up to $2,100. So now we got a rat buyer in there this didn't happen, but I'm saying just imagine we had a person in there that was paying us $1,800, but now our payment is $2,100.
Yeah.
And we had no clue I'm like, this don't make sense.
Yep.
So going through it, what happened is once we transferred it, this is something that on the front end of YouTube and all of that stuff, this is not what people talk about.
They
don't talk about this.
They don't.
They don't talk about it. That's the difference from the experience that
Sure.
I want you to touch on. But just to finish my statement was that the homestead exemption left, right? The homestead exemption is gifted towards people who live in the property, and the city, will give you credit for, for your taxes to be lower, where you don't have to pay so much, right? As much as you would have, right? It's just a benefit that they give you, right? Just like if you're a veteran, right? You get different benefits. Right. So if you're a homeowner, you live in the property, and you only can have one. It has to be your personal home that you live in. So since the person that we got the subject to from the original seller, he didn't live in that property no more. It changed title over to us, and it's an LLC. We're not living in the property. The homestead exemption went away, and it's 50% in Indianapolis. So it was like at 128,000 or something like that. It jumped up to 228,000 when we got taxed on.
Yep.
So our taxes more than doubled.
Yep.
So that shot our payment all the way up, and we had to pay almost $6,000 extra.
Yeah,
because of that shit.
It's something you don't think about when you're buying Sub2.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, those homestead deductions go away. I mean,
what?
When title changes, the county just wipes it all off, right? It's like
right.
Not every county is good at that, especially if you're putting it into a trust. Sometimes they don't pay attention.
Right.
But the majority of them pay attention, and that homestead deduction goes away. Taxes go up, and not every state has a homestead deduction.
That's what I was about to say. It's state to state.
It is
as well. Yeah.
I didn't even know that though.
Yeah.
I thought every state had
one. On top of that, real quick note too here in Indianapolis and in Hamilton County for sure. if you are married now, there's a rule that it's only one per person. So there was already a rule that really, if like say for instance, I buy a house, I'm married, right? Me and my wife, but then I buy another house as a rental, and I put it in her name. What people was doing was they was taking the homestead twice, but essentially you should only be able to take the homestead once. So what they do now is they make you register, even if the house is in my name, right? Like if my house is in my name and my wife is not on it, I still have to register her because I'm married. I have to register her down at the county office because they want her ID number, all of this stuff, so we can't go and do that in the future. And people was like, basically, I mean, you got to think they was saving thousands and thousands of dollars, a year because they was doing it twice on rental properties plus their home.
And Mike, is it another loophole to do that, to get more than one homestead? I know that's random. I'm just saying, could people do it a different way?
So statutorily in Indiana, no. Right?
Okay. Right.
You can have one.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it at that.
Tell me.
Hold on real quick. I'm sorry to you. I gotta pause you because you did me earlier.
Go ahead.
Like that. But Mike, I want to talk about that, right? As far as that homestead exemption problem, if we would have had a trust, we probably wouldn't have to go through that.
Potentially.
Or explain the possibility, I guess, with that. If you could set it up maybe better or different, that you might not have to go through the homestead exemption. You having to pay more money. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much.
It's theoretical. So, and you got to understand that once again, it's supposed to be for people that are owner occupied.
Right.
Like that's where it kind of the line is. But practically, could you potentially If I buy a property, I'm trying to attempt to buy a property subject to, and the person has a homestead deduction, you could have them put it into a trust prior to closing, right? They could go refile their exemptions, and then you could just change beneficiary status, right?
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So the title is not necessarily changing over right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's in the trust. It shows that they put it in the trust.
Right.
But you're the beneficiary, so you still really control it and you own it.
Right.
You are the
But you
beneficiary
change
of
it
the
after
trust.
closing.
Well,
The beneficiary.
well, yeah. I mean, or even, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so then there's nothing to file at the county level to change.
Right. Because the paperwork changing is what caused it to actually change for you.
Right. Exactly.
And for everybody out there, I don't recommend that.
Right.
Yeah, we're not telling you to go do that. So that you don't do
Theoretically.
Right.
If you were to do
Theoretically.
it, that's
Right. Got you. Yeah. You need to live in your house
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're
to
gonna
get the
deduction,
homestead.
leave it- Yeah.
To get the homestead, and they have other deductions. Right. It's not just the homestead. They got
Right.
not everything's gonna apply for everybody, but don't they have like a mortgage?
There's
they
a
got
mortgage, yep. Supplemental, veteran, disability. There's a few deductions. I mean, there's like the veterans is so big. You know, you can basically almost pay nothing in some places.
Yeah.
From
Sheesh.
a property taxes perspective. I mean, but
It's crazy.
you know, obviously, if you're in that situation, you probably deserve it.
right.
Absolutely. Shout out to all our veterans. What I want to jump into kind of right now is kind of get into the differences between exit strategies.
Okay.
Or even acquisition strategies. Can you kind of explain the difference between on the acquisition side, a seller finance
Yeah.
to a subject to a land contract on the acquisition side of things, like,
Sure.
Right.
and if you could quickly, like, why you would go with one over the other, maybe in situational.
Right. I think anything that gives you the deed is important. Right?
That's a
Like,
great ass question.
You looked at me
I
like
ain't
that
gonna
was a
hold
good
you. I'd
one.
like, damn, he explained that well, didn't he, y'all?
That's because this is something that I need to polish myself on. That's honestly why I'm saying that.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, but anytime you control the deed, that's important, right?
Right.
So I think, from a land contract perspective, it's probably my least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
There are situations you can be able to do it, but obviously, like seller finance is typically done with a property that's owned free and clear
Okay.
by the owner, right? And they're going to basically turn themselves into the bank and allow you to purchase that property on an installment sale over time with a note and mortgage,
Right.
depending on your state. And so there's not really a rule for interest, right? You could do 0% interest on that as well.
You got one at 0% interest, don't you?
Oh, do I?
Probably got a few.
On a hybrid.
The hybrid, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So I bought a property on a hybrid. We can talk about that. But yeah, so that's one way. I'll go into the Sub2. Sub2, anytime there's a mortgage, you can take ownership, and they're willing to let you take ownership while maintaining that debt on the property. Then that's a good way to do it. And I do that anytime that I can.
Right.
Anytime there's debt, and they're going to let me take ownership and maintain that debt, I'll do it.
It's a loan that you just never have to go get again.
Never.
I mean, don't have to, but like you can refinance in the future and stuff like that. But
And that's negotiable as well.
Yeah.
When I'm buying a property subject to, I can either choose to buy it and then never pay off that debt, or the seller and I can come up with a situation where I will pay off that debt in a certain amount of time, which I've done.
right, which is the joy of being creative. That's the whole reason why it's called creative finance. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now on the exit strategies, let's talk lease options. Obviously, seller finance will be if you own the property, but land contracts as well on the exit strategy side of it, and why you go with one over the other. Because I like lease options over land contracts. I think he likes land contracts over lease options.
Yeah.
But
No.
now you back liking the lease options.
No, I always like lease.
Hell no. Listen, y'all. Listen, man.
I do. I
For a
always
minute,
do.
he was sitting there talking about, man, we need to put everything on land contracts. I'm telling you.
Well,
Did you
there's
not say?
benefits. There's
It is. But talk to us
Yeah,
why
there you
you
go.
would choose one or the other
Yeah, for sure.
before, and then we can
We have
argue
gotten
later.
these before though, for sure. But I definitely like lease.
You
options,
went back
though,
to the
because
lease
of-
options.
because of what he's about to explain.
Exactly.
Well, I think it comes down to what kind of like life you want to create for yourself.
Okay.
Like when you have a traditional rental property, right? You're going to be involved.
Right.
Even at a property management level, like you're going to be, whether you're doing the property management yourself or you have a company doing it, you're going to be more involved, right? You got to make decisions. The water heater broke. Okay, so now we got to worry about the water here, and we got to have a conversation with our property manager. We got to get quotes on the how to replace it, and we're going to pick the lowest quote, but hopefully he does a good job.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously, we're dealing with that now.
Yeah, it's long-term rentals in a nutshell. So the lease option side I like because I'm basically I still get the benefits as a landlord, right? But I'm pushing off the maintenance onto the lease option buyer.
Right.
Now, this is different in every state, so you got to understand your state laws. But in Indiana, like I say, nope, I'm not responsible for any of the maintenance. You're responsible for all of the maintenance in the property. Okay, so we're putting it on them, and then also, I've switched to putting taxes and insurance on the lease option buyer as well. So I literally just cash flow.
I haven't
Hold
seen
on,
that.
Mike. Wait a minute.
I ain't
Time
seen
out.
that on the lease option.
Time out.
I didn't know you could do that.
Wait.
Because that was my biggest thing was that
You putting the taxes and the insurance on the lease option buyer?
Yeah. It's an agreement, right?
Damn.
Like whatever. It's almost like
That's cool.
It's almost like a net lease.
right.
When in this building that we're in, who you think's paying the taxes on this thing? You can do a triple net lease,
Yeah.
where they're responsible for the taxes and insurance.
All of that. Yeah.
It's something similar. It's kind of what we're doing. We're saying, okay, but they have to understand
Yeah,
what those are.
absolutely.
They can't be surprised by it.
Right.
Disclose it.
Yeah.
And we're going to let them know when changes are coming and why.
Yeah.
And we're going to show them exactly,
Exactly.
Set them up for success because that can bring problems on when you a year or 2 years in and they're like, hold on, wait a minute. So you telling me I gotta?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nah, that's not the way that you need to set it up. You need to set it up right. But that's cool. I mean, because we haven't done that to our lease options. We just say put the maintenance on them, but the taxes and insurance, we were still making sure that we were covering.
Now, when you put the taxes and insurance on them, do you still get the tax benefits of depreciation, et cetera?
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah,
You're still the owner of the
That's
property,
cold.
right?
Hey man, listen.
Yeah, that's
I hope
cool.
y'all writing something down. I need a pen.
I'm taking that.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And also
That's super dope, man.
right. And
Damn.
And I'm still getting 10% down on my option fees.
Okay.
Okay. And we're spreading that out over time. So the minimum I require is 3% to move in. Very similar to an FHA loan, right? If they can't afford an FHA loan, then that's not something we're going to be a fit for anyways. And then I'm taking the other 7% spread out over time, depending on my option period.
Okay.
So
Are you doing it as a balloon, like balloon payments, or is it like more a part of the monthly?
It's a part. It's not part of the monthly.
Okay.
So because I don't like that idea of tying it in that way. I like doing the lump sums due on a certain date.
Okay.
So usually around tax time we have a chunk due.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's normally when people are ready to put that little balloon payment.
Yep. Yep. And
Do you call it a balloon?
no.
Okay.
I don't ever use a word that would even
Exactly.
be near the word of a mortgage, right? Now, well, we can go back to land contract.
Yeah, because that's why I was asking you that, because you want to stay far away from it being that you're giving them a mortgage than anything.
Right.
Right.
They got to understand it's not a mortgage. They are
exactly.
responsible for getting their mortgage within the option period.
Thank you.
Now, what do you usually do for your options? Are you 3, 4 years, 5 years?
I've moved to 5 years recently.
Okay.
That's what we were kind of at.
Yeah, we was at
but
5.
Yeah, we was at 5. We usually between 3 and 5, like around there.
It mostly has to do with what I've negotiated on the front end, because most of my lease options are sub-2s.
Right.
So it's kind of what did I negotiate with my original seller,
Gotcha.
and then how I'm going to lease option, how much time I'm going to give my option buyer.
For sure. Okay. Jump into land contracts for us, because we heading into time, and I want to be sure that we get to that 900,000 story.
Sure. Well, so the selling on a land contract has its benefits. It gives more credence to the fact that you're the bank, right? Without selling on a wrap or a true seller finance, right? You are the deeded owner at the county level. Okay, that does not change. And you're going to continue to give them the ability to pay you. Once they're done paying you, then they get the deed to the property, right? But the downsides of a land contract in Indiana, at least, once they provide you with 5% of the equity on the purchase, now you have to foreclose. So the benefit of a land contract is supposed to be you don't pay, I cancel the contract.
Right.
Now it's done, and now you gotta go
because they've already given you 5%. Now that's something to really think about, people, listeners, everybody out there. I was about to say dudes, but on a lease option, if that person, like when this guy stopped paying us on a lease option 3 years in, all we had to do was go to eviction court,
right,
and evict him. We didn't have to go through a whole foreclosure process in order to get this guy out of the house. It was 30 days, and he had to be out. It was a little bit longer, but he had to be out. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we had to go through that foreclosure process, we talking about literally how he was saying. We literally got to file a court hearing.
Yep.
We got to go through the whole foreclosure process as if we was like a bank. So that's my biggest reason in not wanting to do land contracts. A lot of our they say 30% of lease optioners normally do not refinance out or buy it at the 5-year period.
It's more than that.
It's been way more here in Indy for us.
Well, I think it's how you handle them, right?
Yeah.
So we've moved to a guy and his team that we walk them through credit repair from the get-go.
Right.
So they have to sign a pledge saying that they are going to go through credit repair.
Okay.
And they're going to team up with this person, and then they're going to meet monthly standards, right? And we're trying to get them to a place that they can have their credit, not refinance, like wipe that from your lexicon, purchase the property out from you because they don't own it. We don't want to give them any idea of
my bad. I meant like refinance you out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Get you out of the property.
Right.
But talk about the other benefit though. Right, with the land contract. That second position. What can you do with that?
Second position.
Sell the note.
You can, yeah. So I own a loan servicing company, right? And one of the things you do, you have an asset now, right?
Right.
Your land contract is an asset that you can sell.
Exactly.
Okay? Without ownership, technically you own the property, right? But you'd have to deed the property over whoever. But they would still be locked into that land contract. You can just basically sell the land contract.
So how do you do that? Like who's looking to buy that though?
There's
like,
no
you know
buyers.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how do you, like for a person that just is like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
Like how do I sell my land contract if it's a person that's already in there? Like what do you mean? You know what I mean?
I mean that's a whole new world, right?
Yeah,
like
it is.
It's a subset world of investing, and the note guys in the world, I just love their notes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they are just so
that's their niche.
That's their niche,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. But it's kind of separated. We don't think about it a lot as an option, but there's companies out there that'll buy them from you, right? There's individuals out there that'll buy them from you. It depends on how your terms are set up on your note.
Right.
Was the purchaser underwritten? Are you having the loan serviced? Did they put a down payment down? Right. There's a whole mix of things that add value to your land contract or note. And if you do all those things, then you have a higher valued note that you can sell. Is it performing, right? Are they paying on time? Is it non-performing?
Now, tell me this. Now, from that sense, is it different if you say wrap? And what does that mean?
Yeah. So a land contract can be done on a property that has a mortgage.
Right.
Okay.
And is that technically a wrap?
Kind of.
Okay.
I like the idea of land contract or installment sale or contract for deed or whatever it is in your state. I like that a lot better just for that particular terminology. And a wrap would be more you're selling it on seller finance for a property that already has a loan. I always say you're giving that first loan a big bear hug with another loan that's bigger than
right, exactly. Right? So you're wrapping it like a gift, really.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? You're wrapping a bigger box over that smaller box.
Exactly. Right.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And so that gives you the opportunity to create cash where cash didn't exist originally.
That's what's up.
And then you just make money and difference on the interest.
Tell us about this big $900,000 lease option that you did. We got to hear about this because I think the biggest lease option that we've probably done on the property was probably the one in Monrovia.
Yeah.
But it was still only worth like, not even at the time. It was only like 165, 175.
Yeah, they put like 20 down or something like that.
And walked away from it. But go ahead. After a year, go ahead.
I mean, that happens, right? Like, the goal isn't for people to fail.
Exactly.
It does happen though.
Right.
It's a nature of the business.
Yeah. Those people just say, hey, we're getting a divorce. We don't want anything to do with the house anymore. We don't care about the money being put down. The house was in great condition. They didn't screw it up, nothing. They just was like, we just want to walk. And I'm like, so you know that you can technically sell this house as well, and there's equity in the house. Yes, we don't care. Yeah. Please just leave us alone about it. We'll be out in 30 days. I'm like, okay. I mean, at that point, then shit, we'll take it back.
Yeah.
Listed it on the market and made like $60,000
right
off of it. But go ahead.
Yep. So, I mean, I think that's one of the things you don't think about is the price of the properties that you can sell on a lease option.
Yeah.
Right. And imagine in any other state, like a California, where values in LA started $1 million, right?
They're ridiculous. Trust me, Jose.
Yeah, and you can do lease options there for sure. So,
right.
This property was in Carmel, Indiana.
Okay.
And it was actually from a guy that was flipping the property and couldn't quite get the number that he was looking for a few reasons. And so, we had offers, at least 15 to 20% lower than what our option price was. But we got the option price we wanted with 10% down, with 3% at move-in and 7% over.
So somebody put $90,000 down?
No, they put 3%
down.
So it's
okay.
27,000 roughly.
Okay, and then they paying $90,000 over how many years?
5.
Over 5 years.
Yep. And it cash flows. I mean, the payment on this.
So they're paying that on top of their rent amount?
No.
Yeah. So they're paying the rent amount monthly, but that other 7% of
they paid during tax time that you got built in.
Exactly.
He's smart putting it during tax time every year. That's crazy, man.
That's super. Hey, listen,
that's
y'all. That's super savvy.
It is. You're taking the process out. I mean,
and they just know every year tax time is pretty much going towards the house.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that we can eventually buy it 5 years.
And they can pay that anytime they want, right?
Right.
They come to a windfall, they can pay it.
Right.
They want to purchase the property, they got to pay it all, right? Like they get it all caught up before they can actually purchase the property, because that's our option fee, right? It's our
exactly. Man, that's clutch, man. But oh no,
are they still there? Did they refinance out? Are they still there now? Do you know?
We closed this last month. I mean, they moved in last month on this property. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, they're with the group of guys. I mean, you'd be surprised by who needs credit. Repair. Even people with high net
worth,
right?
Maybe not net worth.
Net worth, but
high incomes, right? They can afford properties like this, but for whatever reason, credit's not quite there. So we're going to walk them through some credit repair, and I think you'll be ready in 1.5 years.
That's what's up.
That's cool, man.
That's what's up. Helping people get what they want in life, too, is what he's really doing. I mean, I know he's talking about the money that he's made on it, but technically he just helped this person buy a house that they wouldn't have been able to buy in any other situation.
In Carmel?
In Carmel,
Indiana?
$900,000, probably a really, really nice house. So that's what y'all got to understand. We in this business to help people on the front end. Like, he has a credit program set up initially. We was going to actually do that with someone, too. We didn't end up messing with them, but we was going to actually have a credit program that would tie in with our lease options when we was doing them, super heavy. But that's definitely something.
I'll hook you up with them because
I don't.
It's not my team.
Right.
Like, it's someone else that we use, and this particular guy that this is what he does.
Right.
Okay.
And they give you a credit package. Like, he gives you the breakdown of why I should accept this person as a tenant buyer.
Okay.
I love that.
That's
man.
Sweet, man.
Well, cool. Well, Mike, let's get into our next segment. We call it overtime.
OT.
And for T.
Nah, it's like OT. Like, they used to just give me the ball. If it's OT, the ball come to me. We know what's going on.
And it's for T.
Hey, no point guard no more. Get the ball to T.
Your nickname wasn't the black hole? That ball ain't coming out.
Hey, man. It ain't. Hey, I'm telling you.
That's funny.
But no, for this segment, man, we was just talking about it a little bit before the show, but Joe Biden and his new rule as far as homeowners and folks that's going to be buying homes. Kind of break it down. I know you had a little bit more information on it, Mike.
Yeah, I was just looking it up prior to. It's interesting that basically Biden's trying to come up with a plan to, I don't know, I guess help people with lower credit scores get into property, right? So he's made it to where that people with increased or higher credit scores are going to basically be funding part of that for people with lower credit scores. So they're going to be fees for people with higher credit scores and less fees with people with lower credit scores.
That's kind of crazy. I think it's a good idea. I think it's halfway a good idea. I think it's kind of messed up that, hey, we worked this whole time to, get this credit score, and you kind of preying on, the people that was able to be responsible. You know what I'm saying? Is how I kind of look at it, and now they have to pay higher fees just in order for people that wasn't responsible to be able to get into homes. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many loopholes. I know you could probably play with it in the future too, that it's really not gonna stand like that. Like, okay, if I want my stuff to drop under $750, I'll just keep my usage up high for 3 months or 6 months and then just pay it back off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there will be loopholes with it, but I kind of think that part of it is messed up. The good part of it is, I think it stimulates the real estate market a little bit.
Yeah, I just feel like
just a tad.
They could have done it in a way of like kind of even how you said earlier, like they get something off maybe the interest rate.
That
like
would help.
A 0.5% increase or 1%. I don't know, maybe that's a bit much, but something like that to increase and stimulate it without trying to make other people pay for those fees. But I guess maybe somebody got to pay for it, I guess.
Right,
Well,
and they don't want to pay for it.
Well, I'm interested as to where those fees are going. Like, where are those fees being used for, right?
Right.
Like, where is that money actually going? Exactly. Because I already have a problem with private mortgage insurance, because that's a scam in itself. But.
Man, me too. And then, like he said, like I think even if you were going to take fees away from up here, I think people down here should have, or not people down here, but people credit scores down here should be able to at least get that, like use those fees that you're having them pay extra to lower their interest rate, not the fees that they have to getting into a property. You know what I'm saying? Because the killer part of a mortgage is the payment. It's not really the fees.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm worried about my payment. Like, if I can get my payment down. Interest rates are high right now. That's what people are worried about. They're not. Have you heard somebody say, "Man, those fees done went up"? No. Who gives a shit about that? No. They really care about the interest rates, and that's what really slowed down the market. So if it was something that incentivized that helped with that, I think it would have been.
And I think that would definitely increase. And the market is summertime is picking back up. People are being like, man, even. It's still a spike, in the market and stuff is selling. But I think that would even take it up another notch where it's like, but maybe they don't want it to be that hot. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I think that definitely would have been a better route to go with,
Absolutely.
For me. Just my, perspective. But yeah, Mike, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
It has, man. Yeah. And we appreciate all the informative. I know we didn't have enough time to get even deeper, but I mean, like,
we just scratched the surface, really.
Man, we just scratched the surface. But like, where can people find you at if they're looking to? I know you now have a servicing company that you work with as well.
Yeah.
Kind of tell everybody where they can find you at, or if they can get some information from you, or you might be able to help people in different situations. Where can they find you at?
Yeah. So you can definitely, for the loan servicing, go to onepointlending.com. You can see my platform there.
I'm actually working with them now too, y'all, just by the way.
Yeah, we're going to do some servicing on that land contract for you. You can get me there. You can get me on Twitter, Michael T. REI, right? And that's where you can find me.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate y'all for definitely coming out for episode 21 with my guy, Michael Thompson. We want to make sure that y'all checking out, our mentorship program. We just had I feel like a bunch of people join like in the last 2 weeks. And it just really
while we weren't here.
While we wasn't here, yeah. And so we had a bunch of people join, and we're actually going to be doing some additions to the program as well, putting in more course-like, like wholesaling 101 type of things, Burr investing 101, creative finance 101, just different type of courses in there as well that you guys can follow, but also being able to help you guys with like different workshops, like he said, setting up systems. Those are the biggest things when getting started that like people skip over. You know what I'm saying? Is setting up those systems. So that's something that we're going to be providing as well. But you can definitely find it in our link, the link in our bios, Moguls in the Making. We do live Q&As every Friday, which we're about to start going live damn near every day and getting in there with our community. So that's going to be something that's super dope, too. So the people that can't make the Friday meetings, we're going to be knocking them out every day for like 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, the beginning of our days. But also we do a walkthrough every month, which we have an event, a networking event directly after that. And then we're just in there answering any and all questions that you guys need to get rolling. So it's only $17 a month. It's not going to be, I'm telling y'all this right now, it's not going to be that for long. I want you to make sure she make a cut on this. It's not going to be $17 a month for that long. We just left our the Growth Summit, and everyone that we asked about, hey, what about our mentorship program? What do you think about it? You're charging too less. You're not charging enough. You're not charging enough because people don't take action for something that they don't feel like that they have put sweat equity or money into.
Like true money.
True money.
Let me just say real quick, guys, like what you guys do, super impressed. I'm super impressed.
I appreciate that.
I've been watching you for a while.
Thank you, Mike.
Just in general, of your growth, amazing.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Man, let me get
That's love it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that, Mike. Seriously.
That's how you can find us, guys. And just, sometimes it's really just getting around like-minded people. You're going to find out so much information that you just don't know, and you don't know how much you're cutting your learning curve down by being around people who's actually just doing the business.
Absolutely.
That's like half of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From people who's actually really doing it, really inside of it. Mike has gave me Sub2 information that I didn't know that I probably couldn't Google and just get off of YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm a YouTube king. Telling you, if I would log back and looked at my hours on YouTube, YouTube should give me a plaque.
Right.
I should be a part owner in YouTube. So just keep that in mind, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Can I add to that too, bro?
Yeah,
because I think that people always think that, just because this person has 25,000 followers or 50,000 followers that, okay, this is the person I should listen to. How many followers you got, Mike?
Not like, it depends on the platform, but not a lot, man. I don't put a whole bunch into it, which I should, but
It's sometimes you have to get, like he said, people in the business that's actually doing it. A lot of times they not on Instagram a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you might be in different mastermind groups. Get around the people that's actually doing this business today.
Yes.
There might be people that got 50,000 followers, but they was doing this business 4 years ago.
And they're just selling you.
And they're just selling you what they
stuff.
knew 4 years ago. We're doing this shit today. He's doing this today.
Right now.
He
came down here to go and look at a property that he's closing on this week, Sub2.
Exactly.
And I said, hey, Mike, can you slide us in? Come, chop it up with us on the podcast. Like, we are real entrepreneurs, real business owners, really doing the business. So really just lock in and tap in with people like that that's really going to give you the game that's straight from the horse's mouth, who's really actually doing it, man. That's super important. So, yeah, again, man, Mike, we appreciate you. You done blessed us with the Sub2. Maybe we need to do I don't know. I don't want to throw this on you, but Mike, maybe we should do some type of
event.
Some type
creative
of event,
finance
man.
Event.
Some type
we need
of
to do a Sub2 event here
some
too.
Some type of Sub2 event, Mike. Some type of workshop, man.
We can do it.
Some type of something, man. Because I think people are, obviously it's out there. Pace, headhunter with, really bringing this out to the masses. Obviously, I know a lot of people that, probably did it even before him or whatever, but he really made it a thing.
Nobody's made it
he a robot.
mainstream than him.
Nobody's made it more mainstream than him. Yeah, Pace is different for sure. So, shout out to them and stuff like that, man. But, I think that's it, man. Lock in with us. Make sure that you give us a rating, a review, Apple Podcast, subscribe on YouTube. We're really trying to grow YouTube. We got more people going. I think the podcast has only been out for 2 months. So y'all, please, man, we need y'all help. We need y'all help, y'all support. Just share it with people that you think, would actually get value out of this.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Share it with them. Have them contact us and things like that. And it's because of you guys that helps us continue to grow. So that's all I got, T.
For sure. T, checking out.
Man, we out. Let's get it.